Finding good quality talent can sometimes feel a lot like dating. Just because you want to attract good candidates doesn't mean that they will just flock to you automatically. And that's true especially for diverse candidates. So it's time to uncover the most common challenges I see brands having when it comes time for them to attract diverse talent to their teams. I'm Sonia Thompson, and through my speaking, writing, content, and programs, I've guided hundreds of thousands of people all over the world on how to build an inclusive brand that wins the attention, adoration, and loyalty of more consumers, especially those that most brands tend to ignore. So it's time to uncover the most common challenges I see brands having when it comes time for them to attract diverse talent to their teams. First off, your network is too homogenous. Many people hire by reaching out to their network. But if your network looks like you, talks like you, has the same experiences as you, thinks like you, you're gonna end up with a lot of the same. This is backed by science. There's actually a term for this. It's called homophily, which really just means birds of a feather flock together. Homophily describes the tendency to seek out or to be attracted to people who are similar to them. So if you want to counteract homophily, you've got to diversify your network. Go out and make some new friends. Go to conferences with a different makeup of people. Start connecting and following people who are different from you, and then move the relationship forward by inviting them to a virtual chat or a coffee or a tea. Break out of your comfort zone when it comes to interacting and engaging with others, and start putting yourself in more diverse spaces. By doing these things, you'll start to make meaningful connections that will allow you to diversify your network. The second challenge is it's not always so fun being the only one who's like you, especially in a professional setting. Just about all my life, I've found myself in situations where I am the only or one of a few people who look like me or have the same challenges and experiences as I do. And while I've learned over the years how to adapt and be just fine in these situations, I can't say it's always the easiest thing to do. It can take a real toll on you from an emotional labor standpoint. So it's understandable why people might not voluntarily sign themselves up for a professional situation where they will find themselves as the only person who is like them or one of just a few people who are like them. It could feel like it's more trouble than what it's worth. But as a business leader, I totally get that you have to start somewhere. I like to advise clients to set a goal of what your intention is to get to from a diverse team standpoint over time. That way people can see that being the only is something that is short-lived and that they're not going to be just a token. By setting these goals and declaring them, other people can see what your commitment is to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging is over time. So for instance, you could say by 2025, our goal is to have X percentage of diverse talent in these positions, and go from there. For example, tech company Salesforce says that right now, just over 47% of their US workforce is made up of people from underrepresented groups. They also want to double their representation of Black talent and increase their representation of underrepresented groups by 50% by 2023. Declaring your goals in this way sends a very clear signal to the talent that you want to attract that you mean business when it comes to diversifying your team. Before we move on to the next challenge, I want to know, have you ever been the only or one of very few in a professional setting? How did it make you feel? How did it impact your performance at all? I want to know all about it. Drop the details in the comments below. A third challenge that companies have with attracting diverse talent is they have a pretty toxic environment that isn't conducive for diverse talent to thrive. Over the past 2 years, there's been a market uptick in companies looking hard and hiring diversity leaders, only to have those diversity leaders leave the company 6 months later. Basically, these organizations don't know what to do with the diverse talent that they bring in, and as a result, they have an environment that is not conducive for diverse talent to thrive. For example, McDonald's has been very active for decades in trying to woo diverse consumers to be customers of their stores. But it's a bit of a different story with Black franchise owners and operators who recently, over the past couple of years, have been suing McDonald's because they feel like they have been treated unfairly because they are Black. The culture within McDonald's, from their perspective, is not one that is conducive for this type of talent to thrive. So how do you ditch a toxic environment so you can make space for an inclusive culture to thrive? My dear friend Conrad Kelly says organizations need to create an anti-rejection strategy. This is where you focus good energy on making sure that you create an environment where people who look different, talk different, think different, have different experiences are in an environment where they feel safe and where they know that they are set up for success and can thrive. Another challenge is many brands haven't created a strong enough value proposition. Imagine someone has been ignoring you for years. They just never could be bothered enough to think about inviting you to one of their parties or their events. And then one day they realized you were super cool and they decided, I must have you at my event. Please come on over. Would you go? Listen, let me be clear. Just because you decide to invite people to your party doesn't mean that they're just automatically gonna come. You have to give them a strong enough reason that makes them want to do so. A couple of years ago, there was a person that I follow online and she was trying to get people to come to a conference in real life. And she was showing pictures and talking about just how wonderful it was. And I remember looking at the photos and listening to her describe it and thinking, that doesn't look like an environment that I want to go to at all. Why would I ever put myself in that position? There didn't look like there was any representation for me, and it just didn't look like something that I wanted to invest my time and resources in, and so I didn't go. Make your company the place that people want to work. And one other way that we'll cover today on how companies often struggle with attracting diverse talent is because their job descriptions are not inclusive. A number of companies have been finding that the way that they write their job descriptions, and sometimes it's in a simple word or phrase, really sends a signal, this isn't for you, you don't belong here, to high quality talent that they would love to have on their team. For instance, Buffer, another tech company, realized that less than 2% of the candidates that they had for developer positions were women. When they dug in deeper to find out why this was happening, they uncovered that using one simple word was turning women off and preventing them from applying for these jobs. It just wasn't a word that they resonated with, and this is a word that they use to describe the position. Be careful with the verbiage that you use, and even sometimes be careful with the requirements that you put on a job. Sometimes those requirements aren't really necessary for someone to do the job well, and you could be excluding a lot of people who would be fantastic for your team just because you've got an outdated way of thinking about what specific job requirements are. That's it for today's episode. If you need even more resources to help you get started building an inclusive brand, head on over to inclusivemarketing.co/starter kit and get your inclusive marketing starter kit. Now, don't forget to drop me a line in the comments and tell me all about a time where you had experience being the only. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like and then subscribe to the channel. That way you will be the first to know whenever a new video drops each week on how to build an inclusive brand. Remember, everyone deserves to have a place where they belong. Let's use our individual and collective power to ensure they do. Ciao for now. We'll talk soon.